Good evening and welcome yet again to another fantastic edition of Friday Night Live here with the Page crew. My name is Phil, Director of Operations for the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, and joining me yet again for another fantastic show is our good friends Jen, Ed, and Ron. Crew, how are we doing?
Excellent.
Hanging in there.
Yes. It's been
Yes.
a very, it's been a very busy few weeks.
Indeed, I think for all of us. Actually, it's been about 3 weeks since I've been on a show. We skipped, I think, a week due to EggCon, and then I was at Gen Con last week myself. But Ron and Jen held down the fort, and Ed was enjoying a baseball game. So regardless, we have going to give you the updates tonight. We're going to let you know what's going on with Page as we are nearing the end of summer and into early fall, and we'll get you all of the info. We are joined tonight by Ron. Who are we joined tonight about? Why don't you give us a little intro?
Do you have no idea who we're joined
Of
by?
course, yes, I know. Yes, of course I do.
All
But
right.
I figured I'd give you the pleasure.
Well, we're going to be joined tonight by Eric Garland. We were supposed to also be blessed with the presence of his lovely wife, Heidi Gygax Garland, but she's sleeping things off after some dental work or something, and we'll let Eric fill you in on that. But we might as well get Eric right on here, and there he is.
Hello.
Right. All right, Eric.
That's all we get. That's all we get is hello. That's all we get.
Hello, everybody. Oh my God, it's so great to see you.
That's right. Show a little enthusiasm.
There we go. There we go.
I have enthusiasm. It's very nice to see all of you.
Well, Eric, thank you for joining us. It was back in June, I believe, that you and Heidi were with us. And we brought you back because we wanted to hear more about EggCon 2, which recently was held in Lake Geneva. And Ron was there as one of your special guests. And so we wanted to get a recap, and we wanted to hear all of the happenings at EggCon. And, of course, EggCon being a newer con, just like Page, we're going to run into the same sort of difficulties and trials and tribulations. So it's always interesting to hear the perspective from another con organizer about all of the things that go into organizing a convention, and then during the convention itself, and then the takeaways, of course. So tell us a little bit about EggCon in general, and then how did this year's con go for you?
Okay. Well, first, we have invited Ron back. So that went really, really well. I'll come back around to that.
Mistake number one.
No, not a mistake. So one thing that kept coming up, and it surprised me how many times, it wasn't just hotel staff and people in town, but it's like, why EggCon? And so, of course, it's Gary Gygax, EGG. And we're trying to hold it as close to Gary Gygax Day as possible, which means, we're in downtown Lake Geneva, the busiest time of year, and it's a pretty busy tourist spot. So we were able to find a couple venues that are right on the lake, and a very pretty place, and I think we had enough space. The con went really, really well. We had just shy of 400 total attendees. We have, I'm not exact, probably within about a half a dozen, because we had some people, they're not unique. They came on a day pass, and then they bought another day pass, and so I didn't want the system to count them twice. But for EggCon 1, we had 125 attendees, so we tripled in size, which was phenomenal. The The venues were very good. Finding two places, connected parking lots in Lake Geneva worked really well. Learned several things that I can do better next year, that we can do better next year, as far as some signage and some directions, and putting some things in people's hands, and maybe circling things on the map in crayon, metaphorically speaking, of course. That, just a little bit, some things that we could clean up a little bit. We had really good luck with our vendors. One thing that we did that a lot of cons don't do, and sort of how we were set up, is we invited anybody who was checking in or checking out of the hotel, anybody who was in the hotel lobby could come into our vendor hall, which I think our vendors appreciated. And we really had some good response. We sold a few badges, people who were there for the lake or who were down for the weekend who bought badges and wanted to play games that they had no idea, because the vendor hall and our registration booth were in the same place. Our auction was phenomenal. Ron really brought it home. We had fantastic donations. We had some beautiful, beautiful items. Last year for EggCon, we, with our sponsors and with our convention, we raised a little over $2,300, which we gave away in scholarships. And we were very proud of that. I mean, $2,300. We were like this, we were, because there's never been a Gary Gygax scholarship before. And this year, with our sponsorships, with what we raised in our tournament, and our really excellent total from the auction, I think we were at like $7,506. So we're not going to do one scholarship. We're going to do two scholarships, and we're going to work that out with the schools. We're going to still do the scholarship, the same requirement, student on track to graduate, and they have to write a piece of short fiction, science fiction, science fantasy, science fiction, scientific fiction, certain number of words, and the same sort of requirement we had for last year. And then we're talking about doing a piece of an illustration, maybe a second scholarship, and having them do a scientific fantasy or scientific fiction illustration for an additional scholarship, which we're really excited about. I know Heidi, getting up in front of all of the students and presenting the scholarship, she got really choked up last year. So I can imagine what it would be like next year. That the scholarship was a really big deal to her. Gary would have loved it. He hired kids right out of high school to work for TSR, and no, it just went really, really well. Several things we learned, that we can make things better. Nothing big. It really, really went so well. I can't. We had great guests. We had great vendors. We had great attendees. We had great DMs. We had a great auctioneer. I was very tired. I took some people home I took them to the airport. I had to drive Alan Hammock and Bill Sylvie to early flights in Chicago. And I drove back from Chicago, and I know I went and laid down. I think I slept for 2 or 3 more hours. I had a doctor's appointment, and I came home and I slept for 2 or 3 hours. I slept for most of Tuesday as well. We were just all exhausted, but it was good exhausted. We'd accomplished something.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite part?
Oh God, when it was over. No, we had we had a couple of really good events. Some things we're going to repeat. We were able to bring all of our premium badge holders and our special guests. We did a reception at a place called the Rathskeller downstairs in Tuscan Restaurant. Used to be the Gargoyle. TSR had some award ceremonies there, and the Gargoyle dates back to Prohibition. It was the happening spot in Lake Geneva during Prohibition, which, it was a speakeasy. And I know from the manager, there is an old tunnel that the bootleggers used to use to get alcohol in and out. It's a really neat spot. And we had a fantastic reception. We had lots of old TSR alum there, and we had quite a few new creators, and we had all the special guests, and we even let Ron in. I thought it was a really spectacular event. So I think that's going to stay on the agenda for next year. The nicest thing about it was the restaurant was so super. They took care of everything. So when it was over, we didn't have to clean. We didn't have to break down tables. We didn't have to. They were just, I wrote them a big check, but it was a really neat event. And I think just carrying that forward, the smaller con, it's more intimate. There was lots of time to spend hearing stories from Steve Sullivan and Alan Hammock and Mike Carr, and I'm going to forget a lot of them. I can't look and see if there's anybody's name over here. Peter Garancis, Dark Nebula Games was one of our sponsors for the scholarship. So hi, Peter. No, I don't know. It was really neat. It was really a very special thing. And it reminds me of cons I used to go to with my son years ago, smaller conventions, with a few special guests and lots of quality gaming time. And
Hey, Eric.
Yes.
Speaking of events, though, did you guys run any Dragon Derby events?
We didn't. We just didn't have time managing our booth and managing event registration, and just trying to be hosts. Pretty much ate up all of our time. We're working on something, so I play tested a new game set in 1948, a new module set in 1948. And did that from 10 to 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday night, which I think I'm insane because my normal bedtime is about 8:30 or 9.
I'd say that'll wear you out.
But we did not, and we're knee deep in Dragon Derby. Our goal is we have all of our prototypes back. The molds are done. They're to the point where they're, let me phrase that, all the prototypes are done and they're manufacturing our molds. So we need to get the last of the printing materials to them so that we can move on to another project.
Well, I am looking forward to when that comes out, and I'm hoping that at Page we'll have some Dragon Derby events.
We should. I think we've signed up for some, and our goal is to have Dragon Derby delivered to everybody by Christmas, and we're still on track for that. We're running a few weeks behind, but we were looking for having everything shipped in October, and that might still happen. The manufacturer's been working on they've been working on all the more difficult pieces, the plastic pieces first. So that should happen, and we're really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to running the game and not working on it. A lesson there is if you're ever going to develop a board game and you have to do production in China or Vietnam, what have you, go ahead and lay everything out using the metric system up front, and don't build 130 cards and your game boards and your graphics and everything using King's measurements, because you get to go back and change every single one of them, and then you have to send them off and get them approved. And the people who we're working with are very precise. And I mean, it's, I need to shift something 1 millimeter in either direction, and then I have to kick it back to them and do it.
I was fortunate in my early days in college. I was a science major, so metric became kind of second nature for me. I just recently got into 3D printing, and of course, everything's metric in that. I mentioned that because I may have a surprise for you guys at Page related to Dragon Derby.
Oh, I like surprises. I'm not really happy it involves a metric system, but that's
well, you won't have to worry about that.
That sounds wonderful. What's your cat's name?
This is Oblin. This is Quartermaster Oblin. He's named after a character I created for Elder Scrolls Online. His sister, Captain Jamila, is quietly relaxing downstairs, but may join us later. But he is upset that I interrupted his lap time.
I see. Yes.
I love the name. So creative.
He's a handsome boy, but
I think all cats can be quartermasters. Heidi's not here, and you notice that. So Heidi, she's probably watching. You're about to hear her mad. She had a little procedure they went in and looked inside of her nose for breathing, and they put in some tubes and did a little camera, and they cauterized themselves. So I've been telling everybody that, that she had a nose job. She did not, but like any type of procedure, she was like, I'll be ready to be on Friday night. But if you've ever had any kind of procedure, day 2 and day 3 is when everything hurts the most and it's sore. Yeah. And so it's just
all the pain
they were checking
off
her.
and you're just exhausted.
So I've told people, where is she? It's like, oh, she had a nose job, and they're like, really? It's like, no, she had breast augmentation, and so it's like, no, she just had her nose fixed. Everything else is perfect.
I hope she's feeling better soon.
She's sore. She's sore, and hopefully in the next day or two she'll know, is that if it helped. And I think it seems really likely it did. They go in and they measure, and they put in a little balloon, and they figure out, how much room there can be, and then they clean it up. And it was a fairly quick procedure, which was funny because they were, they're cauterizing things in your nose, and so she said the doctor had asked her, different people will say there's different smells, it's like burning hot dog or whatever, because they're cooking skin off inside your nose. So anyway, chat. Oh, okay. You have terrible guests. Wait, you have a terrible audience. Sorry. Yeah, chat, you're kind of tolerable too. So what else can I tell you about EggCon?
It's funny, having lived out there for a few years while I worked at TSR, I remember Lake Geneva being night and day between winter and summer.
Yeah,
very, very busy. How did things go with the community area? I mean, it sounds like you guys had no logistical problems at all.
Not much. I mean, so in right now in Lake Geneva, parking is a combat sport. Parking is premium real estate, and but because the venues we found, they had plenty of parking, they got plenty of overflow area. They were a little worried that they might not have enough parking space, but we did fine. And tentatively, what we're looking at doing next year, if everything goes the way we're hoping, we'll have even more parking space. That was the only thing we were really concerned with. But the community in general is very positive. People are stepping up and they're saying, we want to have an event here. One thing that's been brought up for EggCon 3 is the local library. The idea is that some people at the library would like to have an event where we have a GM or two go over and do a learn to play Dungeons and Dragons, and let the community come in and play, and people can also do it as a ticketed event from EggCon, so they could go over and play or run it. The number of people, as far as locals who are excited about EggCon coming, it was the enthusiasm was terrific. I posted the article that the Lake Geneva Regional News printed. That was just a lovely article. A lot of people had forgotten that this is the home of Dungeons and Dragons, that this is where, all of the everything began. And that at one point TSR was one of the largest employers here in the area. And but once they're reminded of it, they're tremendously receptive. We don't run into, the library has been great. The museum is thrilled. If you guys, you've been here before, the dragons in front of the museum and the library, and the people who've embraced, sort of the wonderful fantasy of the game. It's been really, really wonderful. I love living here. I knew years ago, before I knew that I would, be with Heidi, First time I ever came here, as a matter of fact, was in 2015, and it was so cold. I mean, it was just so cold. Everything was iced over, and the lake was frozen. And I was speaking to somebody shortly after I had been here for GaryCon, and it was my ex-wife, and we were visiting her family in Florida, and they were in this place called the Villages. And if you know about the Villages, it's, this fancy neighborhood, and I don't know, 150, 250,000 people living, in the golf courses. And I didn't, I that just is not my thing. I don't play golf. It wasn't something I was interested in. But my then wife said, there was a conversation in her family. Everybody was there, and they were, if you win $1 million, what are you going to do? And they asked me, they said, if you win $1 million, where are you going to retire to? And I was like, oh, Lake Geneva, right? And so my now ex-wife, she says, no. If we win $1 million, we're going to move to the Villages. And I was like, okay, yeah, but if we win $2 million, I know where I'm going. And I didn't know I was going to end up here. I mean, I had no idea. And it's so beautiful in the summer. It's just gorgeous.
One of the traditions I remember in the spring that the TSR employees would engage in is we would go down and have lunch somewhere near the lake, maybe out at that Popeyes restaurant, which, by the way, was not Popeyes fried chicken. There's a funny story about that. But the reason we do that is because there would always be the off chance we'd get to see somebody's truck sink into the lake as people would park their trucks on the ice. When you mentioned parking, I was like, too bad it's not winter. They could do that. But yeah, it always seemed like at least every year somebody would go out there just a little bit too long. And
yes, or just a few too many cars. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful lake, and I'm sure there's more than a few cars in it. It's I think that happened GaryCon 8 or 9, right before we got here. A bunch of cars parked, and the ice broke, and the cars went under. But so now I'm thinking about this. So I've never in my life owned a snowblower before. Now I have a snowblower, and it's not bad. I like it. I like it year round. It's my favorite place I've ever lived. I grew up in national parks, and I've lived in some really cool places, but I love Lake Geneva. It's not just the whole TSR thing. Something funny is I talked to my friends from the gamer world, people I played with high school and in the Army. And I've got one friend who he gets on social media every 3 or 4 years. And he popped up very, very recently, and he was catching up. And he's like, how the hell did you marry Gary Gygax's daughter? And I was like, right. This is how long it's been since we talked. But I remember having a conversation with him at one point that we were looking at the back of the player's handbook, and it was published in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And we thought this had to be some really cool, magical place, right? And it turns out it is. It's very, very neat. And
now I got it. Now, Eric, there was a little scandal at EggCon.
Oh, geez. Okay. Do I know about it?
I think you do. Your wife posted it on Facebook, so I assume you know about it. But there was some scandal. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But, scandal.
I could tell you're very embarrassed by it.
Oh, yes. So
yeah. I think I could probably post a picture, but I won't. I think I might have
there was a practical joke played on Eric at Page as he left his phone unattended, and somebody broke into his phone and started taking selfies.
Somebody.
At which point, when he returned to his phone, and he started to look at his pictures, he found a bunch of selfies on his phone at Page. So this was just a continuation of the scandal.
Terrible scandal.
Well, we have a lot of people in chat here that have been going back and forth, either EggCon attendees like the venerable Chet Minton is in chat along with a few others, so that they had a great time at EggCon. Looks like Scott McGregor has hopped in, and Scott and I had a little chat at Gen Con as well. Good dude.
Are we settled there for BattleTech at Page with Scott McGregor? That's the question.
I think we talked about it. Yes, and Ron,
Scott,
I haven't talked to you about
this. Scott, you're on the stream. No pressure.
He says he wants to come. He just has to figure out a way how to get all of his stuff out to us.
We already established this at EggCon.
Okay, then we're likely good. Then we're likely good.
So, Eric, the auction was a lot of fun, and it was my honor to run that. I mean, anything associated with Gary Gygax and charity, to be able to be a part of that and help raise funds was a true honor for me. And but you mentioned about the great donations you had. And then there was a donation of a shoebox from Chuck Cumbo from Troll Lord Games.
I think something came in the shoebox.
Well, that was sold separately.
Right.
That was sold separately. But, we auctioned off a shoebox. It was titled Empty Shoebox, which once contained shoes that were now on Chuck Cumbo's feet. And we were able to get $10 for the scholarship fund for the empty shoebox.
Who bought it? Can we reveal the buyer?
I could.
It was Zane McGowan. It was Zane McGowan.
Oh, was it Zane?
Zane McGowan. He could be seen sniffing heavily into it, and I said, no,
I wasn't going to actually look it up. Thank you for remembering.
They weren't worn prior, and then put back in the shoebox at any time. So, it was not did not smell like Chuck Cumbo. So that's very important.
Uh-oh, did we lose Ron?
Somebody said, Anthony Simeone, what happens at EggCon doesn't stay at EggCon.
Even if it should.
Yes.
Oh, I think someone earlier on, let me scroll back here, was asking about EggCon 3.
Yeah.
Eric, can you tell us anything that you can, at this point, divulge about EggCon 3?
We want to do EggCon 3. We've spoken to both of the venues, and they are favorably inclined to us doing EggCon 3. And we're talking about a weekend. We're going to, I think, around the 15th. And we don't have contracts in hand yet, but they've checked the schedule, and we verbally have worked up some pricing and had a very nice conversation with both of the venues, which, by the way, they were ecstatic. They loved it. They loved the gamers. They loved the group. And we can come back to that in a second. So, and we have art. We have art for EggCon 3. We wanted to get a really, really great artist, but we got Chad. And can I share it? I'll share the picture. I'll put it back up on the screen of what it'll look like. And this is tentative and probably going to happen So just in case, it's possible. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that or if you can put it up on the screen, but
I'm not seeing anything at the moment.
No, I don't know if we're seeing it right now.
There we go.
Yay.
So that's what we're trying for is the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. That's Thursday through Sunday. Both venues. We should know maybe within a week to 10 days if we actually are going to have the contracts. And in that case, we'll put out something, super official. I've started building the website. We're planning on it. We really are planning on it, and we think it's going to happen. We need to talk to, we've had several people who really want to become involved. We're just not to that point yet. Can we get the venue? And we've actually had the art. I think Chet was sort of disappointed I didn't share it months ago, but I've had it sitting here thinking, we're gonna have this, and so Chet put it together, and it's actually very, very pretty. He did a good job. That's he's probably gone now. He won't hear me say that, but I'm gonna make it go away. So.
That's exciting stuff. So, folks out in the crowd, you've heard it here first. Again, tentatively, it looks like EggCon 3 is going to happen next July, and you've seen the dates up on the screen there from Chet's graphic. So that's exciting stuff. And
we're excited.
I definitely have to try and get out there next year.
We're looking at that too. It's been discussed.
Yeah, what do you think about that idea, Eric?
I like the idea. I would say that if everything goes as planned, we will definitely be seeing Ed here.
Well, no, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
I did that earlier, Ed. Don't worry. I already took care of putting them on the spot.
It's really okay. We're it's a little bit farther away from Gary's birthday than we wanted to be, but because of the way the calendar's fallen this year, and Gary Gygax Day falling on the 27th, and when Gen Con's going to start, we decided to move, 1 week earlier in the year. So this is how nice the people are in Lake Geneva and how much they love the gamers. And this is not, they do not need us. They do not need, during the year when GaryCon happens, they bring in a huge number of people for GaryCon at a point when hotels are not full, and restaurants are not full. So they really want us. They really want cons to come in the off season, and the rooms that we are using, if we were not there, every single one of them would be booked for weddings, and they have them booked 6 months, 8 months out in advance. And it'd be the same thing, but they know they're going to book. So they're excited about us coming back. They liked the gamers. They said that the gamers moving to and from the various game points, they were the nicest, the best behaved guests. They were so polite. Apparently, at the restaurants, they were very, very complimentary of the, people coming into the 2 restaurants that are attached to the venues. They couldn't say enough nice stuff. Hello.
One of the things I thought was very funny was last year, as we were leaving GaryCon, a friend of mine and I stopped at Culver's for lunch.
Yes.
And we got to talking with a table near us, and they'd seen our lanyards because we forgot to take them off.
Right.
And they asked about that, and they're like, "Oh, we should go." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry. Like, today is the last day. It's Sunday. It's pretty much over." But I said, "There's another convention coming up in July called EggCon," and I told them about you guys. And what was really funny is the person we were talking to, apparently her brother-in-law had worked on your deck.
Yeah.
So they knew you guys personally, and they're like, "Oh, we got to ask them about that." That they were very excited. But I thought one of the great things about as you say, the Lake Geneva community is it's a small community. People know each other, and they are very welcoming of that. There are some hotels and some venues and some communities that just seem to not like having people come and spend money at their place, and Lake Geneva is not it at all. They loved having us there.
They both venues, when I went back and said, let's talk about next year, they were both very excited that we were coming back. And they both made it very, very clear, if you don't, we're gonna hate it that we don't. But we know. So our room block, we set up the room block, and the day that we had to give our room block left, the next day the hotel rooms that were left were gone. I mean, it's going to be full because it's Lake Geneva in July. Every single room is full. Every single venue will be full. And they were excited for us to come back.
Good.
And that's just, it speaks a whole lot to, the gaming community at large. And so many people were excited when they came into the vendor hall and they got to, see these really cool items in the vendor hall. And they went back out and they were telling the hotel, this is the coolest thing we've ever seen. They're in there selling games and art and dice, and people in the hotel, they're in there, and that's. And I don't think the vendors were upset to have extra customers. So next year I'm going to do some kind of a neon sign or something, like I don't know what it's going to say, but come in here and spend money, please. That's
I like the
paraphrasing. That's
the
Hotel Coral Essex. I mean, I don't know, but something that will attract people's attention.
So when do tickets usually go on sale?
Well, last year we put them on sale about 9 months out. Probably something similar once we have everything firmed up. We'll do it very early. We need to check some of our special venues for space and make sure that we can do repeats, for our badge levels. But I think definitely we would want to have them up there before, too far into the fall for sure. And we should, if we get the hotel booking set up, the venues are set up, we'll go ahead and put room blocks up early because it does become somebody got it. That's good. We should be able to have our room block up. And some things I want to point out. I mean, it's so Lake Geneva is kind of expensive. I mean, it really is expensive in the summer, but I was just looking at what rooms cost for Gen Con. It's not as expensive as Gen Con. But the rooms are just not cheap. But one of the venues, the Cove, has suites, and where some of our special guests stayed, some of the suites have 3 separate sleeping areas and 2 bathrooms, and so they sleep 6, 3 couples, but they could definitely sleep 3 people comfortably. And if you break down the price, if people are willing to do that way, and you actually end up with, you have a dining room, you can place you can game, you actually have a full kitchen, so you have nice space and access to everything. And they do a thing in December where they sell gift certificates, where if you buy a $100 gift certificate, they'll give you a $25 gift certificate for free. And we had a few people who jumped on that because they realized by planning in advance they could actually get their rooms 20% discounted. And so I know one group of people who stayed at the Cove. They were telling me by the time they worked it out, they were at GaryCon rates, but it was in the summer. 3 people, they split the suite 3 ways, and they were able to take advantage and with just a little bit of forethought. However, rooms are still going to be the premium, and we know that we could move to September, or we know we could move, into February. and we could get the room rates less. But Gary's birthday doesn't fall in September or February. We really want it to be at Gary Gygax Day, which in Lake Geneva is a big deal because it's official forever. It's Gary Gygax Day is an official holiday here, and that's important to us.
Now, it was great to see, all of the TSR alum there. Um, the guests were all very accessible to every attendee, which, that is near and dear to my own heart as a convention organizer, that the guests are accessible. Right. And it was a load of fun. I mean, some big news broke there. Uh, you know, Chris Arneson turned out that it came out that Jeff Easley's his biological father, and that hit the news, and that was very shocking. But then seeing the two of them together, not so shocking. So yeah, no, that was a lot of fun.
You look shocked.
I was,
Not.
but I had a good time. I was, I got to spend some time with friends out there. The Saturday night party was a lot of fun. The Stephen Pokorny party was a lot of fun. The reception was a lot of fun. Got to spend some time with Stephen there, and Scott McGregor and some others at that event. So that was a lot of fun, and yeah, I high marks. Congratulations on such a great show, because it was very, very good.
We had great volunteers and guests and gamers. I would love to take all the credit, but it's I would like to repeat it. The sort of our plan is that we would like to reach capacity and stay in these two venues until we're too tired to do it anymore, and we turn it over to our daughters, that they can just do it in perpetuity. And
Right.
Had that conversation with both of the venues, and they were thrilled. The idea of just booking this group up just on into the future, because that would put us at somewhere, total attendees 615, 650 maybe. But if it never got any bigger than that, we could still have the various special events, but there'd be a really good chance of sitting down at a table with somebody who wrote something years ago that you admire and you always wanted to play with. That's the and they love it. It's so funny. The various guests are not. They don't want to necessarily be sequestered away. They like to be out and to meet their fans. I can't think of any of those. Something we also tried is we were trying to specifically schedule special guest games where we had maybe a guest GM who was running the game, and we tried to put another special guest in. And I want to do some more of that. I know people were kind of excited or surprised to look across the room and realize that they were not just sitting with somebody, who they wanted to play with and they'd scheduled the game, but they had an additional person there to meet with and talk with. Our tournament, the Ernie Gygax Memorial Challenge, did really well. It raised some money for the scholarship fund, but it was a lot of fun. Chris Clark really brought a great module home for us, which we really appreciated. And I don't know. I would love to take lots of credit for it. I know Heidi would like to take Heidi could take more credit for than that's. I think I can't know if you guys can see my title, but I carry things around. I stack things up. I run the printer and the copier. She does the hardest work.
Well, I think you both worked extremely hard there. You know, I needed to take a rag and wipe the sweat off you early in it at one point. 'Cause,
You tell people everything.
yeah, like it was pretty bad, but you were working hard and doing it. You mentioned Chris Clark. Hanging out with him and his daughter was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing him at Page as well. Seeing Dale Donovan there was that was wonderful. And you mentioned Steve Sullivan. Skip Williams is as much a curmudgeon as ever, but he was there. And just the list goes on and on. Frank Menser, Harold, of course. Scott Douglas was working. His butt off.
Scott is one of the hardest working people you've ever met. He was there with us early on, and just very lucky.
I always assumed that your dog was probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Oh my gosh, no. We just had so much going on that Hades didn't make very many appearances. Maybe next year. He's we love our animals. I know you guys are all animal people. But we have the Barking Lot, which is a local doggy daycare place, and so we put our animals there, and they're excited to go. And I would like to get the girls more involved. Amelie is coming up on 12, and so she's kind of interested in a lot of her own stuff. Zoe came and helped me run the game. I ran from 10 to 2 in the morning. And I told her, I said, I'm trying, this is sort of a scary thing. And it's just sort of a template thing that Heidi and I are working on. So it's really, really rough at this point, but I'm going to try to scare everyone. And so we started, and we got to a point where we turned the lights off, and we had just a little bit of candlelight in the room, pretty much pitch black. And I was describing some events that were happening, and I was asking the gamers questions and got them involved in it. And I said, okay, Zoe, she's holding my hand. I said, Zoe, go turn the lights back on. And she says, you go turn the lights back on. I was like, oh, well, okay. I got her scared. That was, so Zoe loves to play and loves to be involved. She used to sing. She would play a cleric, and anytime she would heal people, she would sing the spells. And she just has this very sweet singing voice, and she would sing these little, be healed songs. And so I would really, really like for them to be more involved. I hope that they can be, because,
Well, one of the things we have at Page is a nice demo area. Maybe they could run the occasional game out there.
I think if Amelie is on, she was No Thank You Evil. She was running games of No Thank You Evil, and I was playing with her, and she was having a lot of fun with it. I know she's been out to Dragonlands. There's some games that Ernie had started that they're sort of continuing, and I know she enjoys that. Zoe doesn't like to read. That's her whole thing right now. Is I trick her into it. We read comic books together. We do things. But if she realizes I'm trying to get her to read, she's very resistant. Super, super smart. She just thinks, everything should be in video or on audio. She just doesn't like to read for pleasure. But they both have the creative minds. And they both really are very good storytellers. I know, because sometimes they're lying to me, and it's really good lies. I'm like, wow, this is. I mean, I know you're lying, but I have to give you an A for effort there. For a while, their names were "It's Not Me" or "It Wasn't Me," and I don't know. I was going to get them little T-shirts for that, because who ate the food in the basement, and who ate the candy bars? I'm like, not me. I don't know. I was like, but you both, you have chocolate on your hands right now, and the wrappers are on the floor. But despite that, they're very good at coming up with, stories and tales. Zoe's been working on this story called The Witch of Walkin' Road, and it's really interesting. it's it's from the point of view of a 10-year-old, but she's kind of got a story framed out that I'd like to help her get on paper a little bit more. Heidi tells stories about that some of her favorite experiences with her father was when they would do story time, and he would give the kids choices. They could pick a couple of different things, then he would incorporate them into the stories, and that was very, very special time. And they do that. I mean, Amelie and Zoe are both—they're so creative. I know all kids are, and okay, I'm doing the dad thing. My kids are really, really great, but they really are. They're very good storytellers, and I hope that they game. I would love to, and I will encourage them. But you tell a 12-year-old they're supposed to do something. That's the best way to get them to not do it. So I have to encourage her gently.
So, do you know Stan Brown? He used to work at TSR Wizards a long time ago. He's an artist.
The name.
One of the reasons I mentioned him is you guys have probably met, but he actually belongs to I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a storytellers society. They get together and they actually practice storytelling and public speaking and everything like that, and it's very cool. It's like
The Moth.
keeping oral history alive.
The Moth.
The Moth.
Yes, look up The Moth.
Okay.
It's a podcast now, but it's about storytelling, and there are groups that meet all over the country and they tell stories. And I actually was able to participate in a Moth workshop through work. Probably not the best venue for the type of storytelling they were looking for, but it's quite interesting. And it's interesting this comes up because I just heard a commercial for the Moth podcast today, so pretty neat little group.
And is the Moth Stan Brown affiliated with each other, or just related?
No, but it's similar to what Ed was saying. It's like a storytelling group, and they specifically work on storytelling. And if I remember correctly, the reason it's called the Moth is because where it launched, it was based on people telling stories on a front porch somewhere, and the light was on, and there was a moth there, and it kind of picked that up, and it's now carried on to like this national phenomenon.
Is this group where you honed some of your storytelling skills?
No, not at all. Listen, I have to do a lot of I have to do a lot of storytelling at work,
Okay.
related to worker rights, and I need to get it across not only in the written form, but I need to
Gotcha.
make people hear me and understand what I'm saying. So, Jen's getting drunk again. What is that, Jen? Is that beer?
No, it's polar water.
Polar water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Eric, we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you wanted to leave us with? What do you have in store for us at Page? Let's get to that before we let you run.
I think we're scheduled to run some games. We definitely want to run something from the Hamlet of Omelette, which is something we've been working on for a while.
Sure. Yep.
And it keeps expanding. Chat actually promised the cover for that. I mean,
stop. Chet's busy. He's busy. I got him all tied
I've
up.
Heard you.
I have them all tied up. No, Chet has work to do.
And it'll come. He's really fast. He'll be okay.
Chet, get back to work.
He's-
Chet says he's at a convention this weekend. He could be working right now. He could be working at the bar right now in the up at the casino up there in Connecticut. What's it called? What's the casino in Connecticut called? I can't remember it.
Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun. He could be working right there.
Right.
Well, there were two of them, remember? There's Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jen plays a lot of high stakes poker at both.
Yeah, Buffalo Gold. That's my game.
I I don't gamble. I don't know. I feel totally out of my. Yeah, there's Chad. He's weighing in. I don't.
He's
know
at the
anything
Mohegan
about
Sun.
I used to play a lot of poker. Unfortunately, there's nowhere I really enjoy playing around here. But one of the things I've always wanted to do is way back at, I think it was Gamma Trade Show back when it was in Baltimore. They did a casino night.
Returning to
all
Baltimore, mind you.
Yeah. But all the exhibitors were asked to donate product, and you would get getting a certain amount of chips. They give you, for attending the party, and you could donate money to get more. All the money was going to charity, and then you would play various casino games. And they didn't have poker, so I wasn't that interested. But I wanted to be social, so I played a little bit. And then I was just about to leave, and I said, what the heck? And I took the rest of my chips, which was more than half the stack I started with, and just put it on a number on roulette. And then I won. And so I won like tens of thousands of chips and bought some piece of artwork or something. But it was very funny, because then I'm like, okay, now I have to get this home. So that's pretty much the whole story.
I don't have that kind of luck. I'm not.
I used to play a lot of poker, and then I got married, and all that stopped.
Oh, I will someday. I'll tell you the story about my wife and her relationship to my playing poker. She was very supportive.
I think that went right over. I think you. It's a play on words. Went right over your head.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's just sad.
So, Eric, we're going to let you go.
Thank you.
You
guys have a great night.
You have an injured wife to take care of, and we will see you in January.
Yeah,
if
I'm
not
sure we'll
sooner.
talk before then.
All right.
All of you have a great night.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too.
Yes, thanks. Thanks very much, Eric, for joining us. We
Thank
really
you.
do
It's always
appreciate
nice to
it.
see all of you.
All right.
All of you, yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, so it was good to see Eric, and EggCon was a really great show. I had a ton of fun there. I really was an honor to run the auction there, to be the auctioneer. My wife Jenn got involved. She ended up doing some, I think, the bulk of the cashiering. But it was great to be able to raise some money, and a lot of page people were there for sure. A lot of page attendees, and more so many people that were there that weren't necessarily page attendees. They all know about page and are interested in it. So that was great news. So great time. Looking forward to next year. I know Eric's being a little coy about it, saying he doesn't have contracts in hand yet, but that's what the hotels and the venues do. They kind of string you out a little bit, hoping you're not going to try to negotiate too much. So, but really looking forward to next year.
Sounds like it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, it was this year. A lot of fun. It was, good times. A lot of social stuff going on outside the convention too, which was good. Michelle Doolin and her wife Tom, who were game masters at Page, they weren't able to make it to EggCon, but they're only about an hour away. So we met them out for dinner, and we had a dinner with. We had a couple dinners with Chet Minton, who really needs to get back to work. on some black and white artwork. But no pressure, Chet.
I know this is weird, but I have to ask, where did you eat your dinners? There are a few nice places in Lake Geneva. Do you remember any of the places you had dinner?
There was a place right around the corner from the lake shore. I don't remember the name of it. I really don't. I know the one place we went was called the Supper Club, and that was closer to Madison.
That's been there for decades. Yeah, that was always a favorite place for TSR folks.
Yeah, so we had a good time there. Unfortunately, I know Jen, my wife, won't be able to make it there next year. Oh, here, Chet's helping me out. Tap Iron Grill is one of the places we went to eat. Let's see.
There's a very nice Italian place downtown that's relatively new.
Yeah, no, I don't think we did.
That's fine. I just get curious about that sort of stuff. It's interesting how many of the places that were there, almost 30 years ago are still there. Especially restaurants, they tend to have a lot of turnover. And there are a number of places that we used to go to and hang out in Lake Geneva that are still around.
Oh, so Phil, what do we have going on?
All right. Well, now we've spoken to Eric about EggCon and all those great plans and memories built from EggCon 2 and then getting ready for EggCon 3. Let's talk a little bit about Page. Again, remember, friends, if you want to connect with us, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, PhillyGamingExpo.com, which is our website, and of course here on YouTube, you can hit us up on all of those social media platforms to get all of your Page news. And if you could be so kind as to share out the YouTube channel, that would be very, very, very kind of you. We would appreciate that as we're building this community together. Registration, we are well into coming up to around 1,000, which is well ahead of where we were last year at this time, which means that extrapolating out a little bit here, we can anticipate us eclipsing our visitor and attendee total of Page 2 going into Page 3. So that's exciting stuff. Event submissions are still open. So if you are on the fence, if you've been waiting, if you were Scott McGregor and you still haven't submitted your BattleTech events, you need to get them in. We do not have a hard date yet, but we will close that window at some point in the future. Right now, I checked earlier today.
Phil, there is a hard date of October 3rd. However,
October 3rd.
We may move that date into September or even late August, depending on what comes in, because we're just under 800 events right now.
Correct. Yep, 776 to be exact. I checked that earlier today, so that's a lot. I believe last year we were in the 500s, if I remember correctly, and so now we have dipped our toes into the upper 700. So a lot of stuff to choose from. All badge types can currently choose their events. So if you have a badge and you haven't picked out your events yet, you're going to be running out of time as more people pile in and buy badges and choose their events. So don't delay on that. Speaking of badges, if you are on the stream and you have not yet made your Page plans yet with regard to a badge, PhillyGamingExpo.com is the place to go to get 4-day and single-day badges. Gold badges are sold out. So if you want to come in and hang out with us for all 4 days, please do. If you are more local and you can only hang out for a day, please do that as well. We'd love to have you.
Real quick,
Yeah.
there are some gamers that are buying multiple one-day badges. Like, I'm going to be there Friday and Sunday. Just buy a 4-day badge. It's cheaper.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yes.
cheaper to buy a 4-day badge. You don't have to buy multiple single-day badges. So just
Correct.
be aware of that. And I've been converting people to 4-day badges and at a savings to them when I've been seeing it. So
yeah, save yourself a little bit of money and get that 4-day, even if you can only make, say, 2-day, like to Ron's point. Let's see, what else do we have here?
Sunday, something happens on Sunday this week.
Yes, yep. I have that's on here as well. We've been pushing out shorter YouTube content recently. We released a video today by Jenn herself talking about her channel over at the Blind Bard and what she likes so much about Paige, and we do appreciate that, Jenn. Thanks so much. But you'll be seeing more of that. So it's not just long form Friday Night Live videos. We're trying to expand the channel, supply a little bit more variety in our content here. So it's not just going to be this. It's also stuff that we're going to be pushing out and have been pushing out. So again, like and subscribe. Talking about Sunday, August 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested in the Page 3 specific adventure, The Tomb of the Ancient Moor King, written by a guy named Ron Meischker. If you want to pre-order that, that will open up at 12 o'clock. The first 100 copies will be signed and numbered. So if that's important to you, you better put it on your calendar and get that trigger finger clicking on the mouse to get that.
Who's signing them?
For those of you who signed it, I would assume it would be the author and artist as well, Ron, or just you?
Yeah, I think we can twist Chet's arm into signing them. Hopefully.
I didn't know if maybe somebody was signing for Ron since he's so important.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, I did see an order for the Page Auto Pen on Amazon. Came across the wire. So
listen,
it might be onto something.
It's true. At my old job, I had a signature stamp that my assistant used to use liberally on contracts and things like that because we did so many. And she's brought that with her to the union. So now sometimes when I go to sign something, she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I already took care of it." So, but no. And to be clear, there's only going to be 100 available at Page. That's going to be a limited edition first print run. Chet and I have been putting our heads together about some deluxe copies coming out later. News at 11 on that, which will probably go to Kickstarter with a bunch of cool options.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. I've heard some of the things that Ron is thinking about, and that sounds pretty amazing.
Now, Ron, are you going to be running this at Page?
I will be. I'm also going to be running it at. I'm going to be running this on and off, and I have been running it. I'm going to be running it at ShireCon.
Ooh.
I'm going to be running it at Gamehole Con. And then I'll be running it twice at Page.
All right. Well, if we go to ShireCon, we're going to have to get our tickets fast and then go sign up for that. So we get a preview.
I think they're debuting I think they're going to release the schedule for ShireCon sometime, maybe even tomorrow.
Okay.
or over the weekend. Because I think they're opening up individual event tickets later, like on the 12th or something. So I imagine the uh, the schedule will appear before that, and it's only got a capacity of 6. I'm also running Badge Quest at ShireCon as well, where you can play a Blossom Scout selling cookies and solving mysteries while doing it.
There you
Which is a
go.
very fun game. I got to play that over at Ron's.
Yeah,
Strongly recommend that one. I'm,
and
I'm currently looking to see if there's any space in the one at Gamehole Con.
I don't know. I haven't checked to see how well that's sold. I think I'm running it twice there.
I can answer that question. The Gamehole has not opened up event registration yet. That is going to be opened. I literally put it on my calendar yesterday. It is coming up, I believe, next weekend. Let me check, because I think Wes is asking in chat as well about that same question. Yes. So GameholeCon event registration is at 12 o'clock Central Time. So us East Coasters, that means 1 p.m. August 16th. If you've never been to GameholeCon, remember how they do it is that they do it on a wish list basis. So the event catalog is now up on the site. You would go in there, you would wish list what you want, put it in ranked order, and then log in that day. I mean, literally like that very second, and hit process, and it will hopefully process your wish list in the ranked order. And sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. So yeah, you have a chance to get into Ron's games.
Well, and of course,
at
every
Gamehole.
one of his games are running up against games I'm running.
Oh, what are you running?
Well,
I'm doing a bunch
yeah, go ahead, Ed.
of non-page related stuff, although there may be a preview of the page mini campaign at Gamehole. But yeah, just some various things. I'm gonna run a couple of rounds of Wardens of the Eastern Marches, Alex's thing.
Me too.
And I'm gonna run a Birthright game because people are constantly bugging me to run that. And then I'm doing a thing. We're doing a play test of the Stan illustration at the table event
Nice.
that we're going to be featuring at Page.
The Ed, I think we can put together a little game day between now and Page, and I can run the Page adventure at the house too, if you can.
That would be great. I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah, it went very well. I ran it twice at EggCon, and one party, I'm not going to say what happened, but close to the end, they had 2 dead, 3 unconscious, and 1 character with 1 hit point left.
Ouch.
And it just happened to be the priest, and I didn't fudge anything to make that happen. It's just the way it turned out. But that was very close to a TPK. And then the second adventure, which was just rife with combos. I had 4 combos in the game. They actually all survived. And they were moments away from all dying, and then at the last minute they changed course and did something different. But yeah, no, it's a fun game. It's a fun little tournament game, and there's actually a part 2 to it, which hopefully for Page 4 we'll have that ready. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer to that. I can tell you that as far as I know, as far as published things that you'll be able to get at Page that are specific to Page, this is just going to be one of 5, I think. that are going to be specific to Paige, and we'll be announcing the other ones as we get closer. I can tell you we're working with some great creators who are putting things together. Levi Combs is one of them. Tiffany Nickel as well is doing something. Scotty Wayne has something going on. So we have a few pretty cool things going on for Paige. So, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of this adventure. It's really runs within a tournament time. If you're doing it within your own campaign, if you want to run it within your own campaign, there's a separate setup for the dungeon master for that, separate of the, like a one shot or a tournament. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and to just put a little period on this sentence, for those of you that miss out and don't get one of the first limited copies, you will be able to get a copy later. As we it was initially earlier mentioned that this may be going to Kickstarter, if not definitely going to Kickstarter or some other crowdfunding platform, in order to get this into the hands of as many people as possible that are interested in it. But it will likely come in differing formats for those who want a more simpler version, or for those who want a more detailed deluxe version.
Yeah, there will be several tiers. I'm really happy to be working with Chet on the different tiers, because it has a lot to do with artwork and things like that. I'll give a slight little preview. One of the tiers is going to be like an old school illustration booklet, like what you saw in the old C series of modules, or in Tomb of Horrors or Expedition to the Barrier Peaks and things like that. That should wet your whistle a little bit. So looking forward to it. We're going to get that up and ready to go for noon on Sunday. I will say that the numbering is going to be, what you get is going to be strictly random. Like, don't try to ask me for number 2 or number 1 or what. Like, it's going to be random, because it's going to be random. That's how it's going to be.
Now, Ed, are you also selling your adventures?
No, that's not currently the plan. I am going to put it together. I will talk to, basically you folks, and we'll see if maybe there is something we want to do with it at some point. But no, I think it's better to focus on Ron's adventure for this con, and maybe if mine's good, we'll figure out a way to sell it later.
Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got, Phil?
All right, let me go back. All right, so let's talk about some new special guests added since the last show we did. In case you missed it on our Facebook announcements, Eric Mona will be joining us for page 3. Eric is an author and the former head publisher at Paizo, and he has also gotten some WotC credits to his, and TSR credits to his bibliography as well as an author. So you want to come out and meet Eric. Also, Kate Johnson, designer, writer, and former creative director at TSR/WotC as well. She has a very long bibliography, also wrote a number of novels that were very successful, extremely prolific writer. And so we are very excited to have Kidge join us. And then lastly, we said Tiffany Nickel, TR Nickel, will be there as well. She's an author, designer, and developer known for the Legends of Lemuria books. And I had the pleasure of Ron was talking to Tiffany at Econ, and I randomly ran into Tiffany at Gen Con at a party. I recognized she was talking. I was talking to somebody. She came up, started talking to the same person I was, and I said, "Are you Tiffany?" She's like, "Yes, I am." And so I had a chance to meet her as well. So she is joining us for page 3 also. Okay. That
Good.
is
That's a
basically
great,
all I have.
that's a great collection of 3 guests to announce. All 3.
Yeah.
So
Ron, I'll let it up to you if you want to pick an unannounced guest to announce right now.
and do we have any trivia tonight? Actually,
Or do we have any trivia? Do we have a giveaway?
We have plenty of copies of Kingdoms and Warfare.
Oh, and I was just at your house, and I should have grabbed one.
Yeah, you should have grabbed them because I got lots of them.
Yeah,
Uh,
I might stop in tomorrow
yeah, you know
before I
where they
leave.
are. You know where they are. You're in the same place as the last time you saw them. So just open the door to that room and go grab them if I'm not here. But
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I might be okay with announcing another guest.
Okay.
Let me see who we have here recently who's come across the wire. Yeah, I gotta have her fix that. There's, yeah, I have one. I have one. You ready?
Ready.
Yep.
All right, we have the other half of the duo from Tabletop Misfits. I believe he goes by Beaker.
yep.
I think that's what that is. And he's a content creator, a grid master, mini painter, model kit builder. He does tavern talks with James Jackson. And, he's also going to be joining us at Page. So, a lot of talk about special guests and things like that. Our theory on special guests is there's big ones and there's little ones. But anybody who's contributing to the industry and adding something to the industry actively is welcome to Page as a special guest. Like we're going to celebrate whether they're fledgling creators like Erica Lowe, right, or somebody like Beaker here, or whether there's Eb Cook. It's we're going to celebrate everybody we can because the RPG community is all one big community, and we don't want to leave anybody on the outside looking in if they want to be a part of what we're building at Page.
One of the things I love about our Page special guests too is they all come with the intention of hanging out with people, of playing games. They're not just, I don't know, off in some green room somewhere. They all agree to do seminars, to do events, to do signings. It's a terrific attendee to guest ratio, and I would find it more difficult to not run into a special guest at Page than to run into one.
Yeah. So we're working on a few other guests as well, and we have unannounced guests, but we're also working very hard. Our diversity initiative is going extremely well. That crew is working very hard on what they're doing. We're working very hard on the cosplay and costume contest aspects of the convention. There's a subcommittee, regular chatter. We've got different groups put together, and we get to see all the chats going on and see what they're working up, and kind of make sure we're guiding people the right way on what we think people want to see at the convention. And that's really what we've got going on at Page right now. I mean, we're just working hard trying to get everything put together.
Sounds like you have a lot of good stuff planned.
We do, and one of the best things is the interview booth we're going to have this year, which you'll be one of the key components in there, Jen. And we
Oh,
appreciate
absolutely.
that.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait. It'll just give me an opportunity to meet so many new people and really do like a deep dive on them, and then they can share, some of the things that they love about Paige. So it's a win-win for everyone.
One of the things I was going to suggest to the team that we start doing in the upcoming months is perhaps during our Friday nights, pick on some featured events. We have a lot of events, but events are still coming in. And so people who have already registered might think, oh, well, I've got my whole schedule set, but then something new comes in and they'd be sad if they missed it. I thought maybe we could pick out, in coming weeks, a couple of events that were like, hey, there's still slots open at, I don't know, Zeb Cook's table on Saturday or something like that. And we could.
Well, yeah, I think we can do that. I mean, one example would be we posted about Eric Mona finally getting his events in, and he still has seats in his game, and he's outstanding. So, if you're looking for something to jump into, Eric's games still have seats. So, and both Pathfinder and D&D. So, jump right on in there.
We have that great Shadow Dark event that's going to be running, and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I need to sign up for one of those.
We added recently some Old Gods of the Appalachia events. I think the GM, one of the GMs running those, is in the chat. So that's here. We also have some Sickest Witch games that are going to be coming in. So, and speaking of that, Ed and Phil, and maybe Jen, if you feel like making that long drive, Justin's agreed to come to the game room at my place and run Sickest Witch if you guys are interested.
Yeah, if I'm not doing anything else that weekend, I can definitely come up. It's only a couple hours for me.
Yeah. If you give us let us know when it is, and we'll try and make it up.
Just a little side note, I played the Walking Dead Universe RPG. Ed Lopez came down and ran it at my house for some folks in my game group and one of his buddies. Fun game. I immediately went out and bought 3 copies of the core rules to share with our core group, and I think it's got great campaign style potential. So had a lot of fun with that as well.
It's always good to try new RPGs, sticking to the same system. Like anybody that would, I don't know, sit around and play 2nd edition, as long as,
Yeah. One of the things I think is amazing is, and maybe this is because they came in later, but some of Matt Forbeck's Marvel games still have seats. And I'll tell you, at GaryCon last year, they just sold out. So my guess is people haven't noticed that, getting to play Marvel with the creator. I mean,
yeah, what I found. I mean, in some cases it's regional. like somebody who's really popular in the Midwest. People don't
I-
necessarily know who they are on the East Coast, even though Matt's nationally known. I'm not sure that everybody always
I
picks
think
up
it's
on
mostly
that.
because his stuff came in a couple of weeks after we opened up registration. So I am really thinking that there are some people who looked at the catalog when it first released and haven't noticed that there's so many good things. But yeah, you could be right. You probably are. Well,
Yeah.
anything else? It's getting towards the time my cats are gonna scream for their midnight snack.
Pumpkin time.
Pumpkin time.
That's all I had on the run sheet. So unless we have any outstanding questions from chat, a very active chat this evening. Thanks for everybody for hopping in and throwing questions at us, to Eric, and just having a good time in chat. Healthy banter back and forth. We do appreciate it. We will be here next week. I think we have confirmed the two guests that'll be joining us. Ryan, can we announce those guests?
Sure.
Next week,
Go
we'll
ahead.
be joined by Tony Winslow Brill, which is one of our special guests. I was hanging out with Tony at Gen Con, and she has written a lot of adventures for Adventures League and is associated with Bald Man Games as well. And she is recovering from a little bit of surgery. So she was a super trooper at Gen Con. She was not feeling that great, but she made the trek down from Minnesota with her husband. And she will be joined by Mike Nistel. And we're going to have Mike join us from Portland, which is his new city that he just moved to, Portland, Oregon. And we're going to check in with him to see how he's doing. And I believe he is currently living in a yurt. So I have questions to Mike about how that's all working out for him. But we're going to be talking to Tony and Mike and seeing how they're doing as we continue to get all sorts of special guests to join us here on Friday Night Live. So, folks, it might be August. It might still be warm outside, but there will be chill in the air soon enough as we inch closer and closer to that glorious 4 days that we will join each other together in communion at page 3. Until then, unless anyone else has anything else to add, I think it's time to say goodbye.
I got one thing
from
before
Ron.
we go. Yep. Wes from Ecclesiacon, he stole eggs.
You're never going to let that go.
No. And I think Wes might probably still be in chat, but I can see him shaking his head right now in disgust. But
We're putting him on trial
Uh-oh.
at Page. He's going on trial. There will be a special event specifically for that. But until then, he's free on bail for now. Oh, there he is. He says he was framed. All right.
good night, everyone.
everybody.
Oh,
Good night.
see you next week.